What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog. It's been ages since I did a YouTube video. Lots of stuff's happened. I've just been super busy really with work and haven't really had a chance to make a video, but I had a week off this week, so I thought I'd better update you guys on the vehicles and what's been happening recently. So I've owned the Bentley like 10-11 months now, and I took it into Bentley for some issues, and I've been financially unable to charge my camera since then, hence the lack of videos. But we'll talk about what happened and the repairs that I've had done, and more importantly, how much they set me back. Bear in mind the vehicle's worth like 15 to 20,000 depending on the buyer. In current condition anyway, now it's pretty much immaculate. But this was an expensive service, and it wasn't even really a service, it was basically just repair jobs. But I thought we'd jump in the Bentley, have a go around in that, show you how lovely it's driving now and how new it all feels, what I've had done, the price of it all, and we're also going to go and hop on the bike because best weather this week is today and I've got the day off, so why not give the Triumph a little exercise, mainly because that's the only vehicle I can afford to travel anywhere in because it gets like 50 plus 60 mpg, so better than the 6 I sometimes get in the Bentley. So let's go take the Bentley for a small drive and go and pick the bike up and discuss the repairs I've had done, as well as the overall costs. Ooh, cheers for that one there, mate. Much appreciated. Nice. Well, she hasn't been cleaned for a couple of weeks due to my detailer's place being refurbed at the moment, and I will take it back there next week when I get paid, I promise. Needs a clean, so does the GTR, but the Bentley is definitely the dirtier of the two at the moment, as it is my daily. Anyway, let's give this baby a cold start. Still got the nice aftermarket demuffled exhaust on the back, but more news on that to come later this video. There is nothing quite like a W12 cold start to wake up to in the morning, and I've got to say, despite this car not being anywhere near as expensive as the GTR in terms of its overall value, running costs way more, and just I feel like the sense of occasion is just that much better. It's got more lateral grip because of its weight. This is only 550 horsepower and the GTR is closer to that 700 mark, and is almost a ton lighter, so you can imagine this just feels a bit more stable in like day-to-day use. And also we haven't got Cup 2 rubber on this because it's not a race car, so it's just a little bit more grippy in the wet, a little more usable day-to-day, and so damn comfortable. And I've got the massage seat on now. I absolutely love this car and love it 10 times more than I thought I would, and there's no car I'd rather daily, to be honest. I absolutely love this car so much, despite its astronomical costs. But let's break down what was wrong with the vehicle and explain how much the bill was. So let's cut to the chase. The bill at Bentley, I took it there saying I wanted my exhaust blow fixed, I wanted a transmission fluid flush because it definitely felt like the transmission was a little dry. I think there was a minor leak somewhere in a non-serviceable location, not ideal. So I just thought top off the fluids in the diff and the tranny, we'll replace the fluids, top them off, make sure it's got fresh fluid in there so it's not going to completely grind all the gears to mush. Shifting way better now, feels much happier. So that, the exhaust blow, and a few other minor things. It needed rear brake hoses, where last time the brakes were done, the hoses weren't routed correctly. Not the end of the world, a few hundred quid. A new oil dipstick, because the old one had melted where the engine bay gets so hot, they replaced it with a newer Continental dipstick, which doesn't melt. Great. Old one shouldn't have done in the first place, in my opinion, but you got to bear in mind this was the first model year that the Continental came out, before the old classic ones. So yeah, it did have a few parts on it that did need replacing due to factory defects really, but again, not recall worthy, just some stuff I had to pay for. What else do we have done? We had a couple of the buttons on the interior replaced that had fingerprint marks on them where they've been used so much. Now the interior looks much nicer, bar the saggy headliner. We'll be getting that done at some point this year. It's basically the last cosmetic defect really, because the rest of the car now looks amazing. New Bentley badge at the front, so no more corroded Bentley badge. Had to replace the whole mechanism under the badge. That was separate to this service. That was something I did on my own in my own time, but was like 80 quid for a new mechanism and 50 quid for a new badge. Not the end of the world. But basically in the last couple of months I've spent just over £7,300 on the Bentley's repairs. First things first, yeah, the exhaust blow. Thought it was one location. They said it might be quite cheap, it could just be the plugs. There are plugs in an exhaust, you should just have the manifold and then back, but apparently there's plugs on the manifold or something on this, so two of the plugs needed replacing, and the third one, there was 3 leaks in total. The third exhaust leak, which is what was throwing the engine light, was actually a bolt missing out of the turbocharger housing. Luckily, all of this was able to get to without dropping the engine out of it. They moved one swing arm out of the way, still a lot of labour obviously, and replaced the bolts and the exhaust plugs. And the transmission service, that was like $1,000 of it as well, so that was the fluids from the transmission being replaced, as well as the gasket on the sump. Yeah, all in all, yeah, £7,000 was for all the labour, all the parts. 6,700 at Bentley, and then in addition to that 6,700 I bought a new catback exhaust system, so mid-pipe and 2 mufflers off a 2008 Flying Spur, same parts, apart from the Valtronics will leave the valves open, but I thought some mufflers are better than no mufflers, and as much as I do love hearing that W12 rumble, I've got my Yobby car with the ridiculous exhaust on the GTR, so I think this one should be more stock, regal, comfortable, and just have a whisper of the W12, not it screaming all the time. Not that it screams, it's still a quite quiet car to be honest, because of how smooth that W12 runs, but I would like it to be whisper quiet unless I'm really on it, just so it's a bit more regal, a bit more Bentley. They've said they wanted to replace the turbos because they said they had a turbo fault from 2 years ago on the ECR. I was like, I really don't care, it's pulling like it's got 550 brake. There is no issue with the turbos, and just for a laugh, I got a quote, new turbos on a Continental, standard little units, I presume they're IHS or something cheap, standard little turbos, they make £7 of boost, 7 PSI, which is absolutely nothing. They wanted £16,000 for the turbos with the housing. That's the value of this vehicle for turbochargers, including fitting. Actually, I might not even include fitting, I think that was just part alone. Absolutely ridiculous amount of money. Basically, if you've got a Continental and the turbos go, it's scrap. It's literally scrap. That's why people don't buy these cars, it's like the fear of it all. But to be honest, they are a relatively reliable car in terms of the drivetrain, as long as you do the adequate maintenance, change the oil, do all the basic stuff. You know, as long as you've got a decent mechanical mindset, you're unlikely to have catastrophic instant failure. Not to mention that this W12 can run without the turbos, as long as you're happy with the check engine light and you clear the codes before the MOT. You've still got a 450 brake with no bloody turbos. I mean, they literally do nothing really. They're a bit of a waste of space on this car, really. That's why an ECU remap will take this straight to 680 brake, because the turbos are basically dysfunctional from setup. Anyway, yeah, so this car has cost me, in total, including insurance and fuel, to run for 11 months, a total of something like £15,000. That's including cosmetic repairs I've done, like the wing mirrors and paint correction, badges, just stuff like that. Insurance and fuel. For 11 months, it's been £15,000, which is nearly the price of the vehicle. So it's ridiculous. And obviously when I picked the vehicle up, I test drove it, everything was fine. There was no exhaust blow when I picked it up that I could detect anyway, it seemed fine. So all these issues are things that occurred in those 11 months. Absolutely ridiculous. I appreciate it's an old vehicle, but even when you pick one up that feels relatively fault free and has no error codes, nothing like that, there still can be hidden issues. So my recommendation would be, if you are looking at an old Continental, this one now obviously being a great example because it's been fully fixed, but if you are looking at an old Continental, please take it to a Bentley specialist who can read all of the codes and check for things like issues with the turbos, exhaust leaks, because they can do little finite things with the tool that you can't do with the general sort of OBD2 ECU reader. So yeah, just do a little bit of due diligence and pay the extra to get it double checked before you buy one, else you'll be forking out like I did for hefty repairs only after a short time of driving it. Having said that, while it's expensive, I was umming and ahhing about whether I should fix it or just sell it cheap, and I thought, to be honest, there's nothing in the £20,000 price range that I'd rather have. Looking a little more, I could be sat in a 2015-ish C63 or a 2016-17-ish Mustang GT, both cool cars, but I just feel like there's nothing that's quite as smooth as this W12. This air suspension is just absolutely blissful, and there's just nowhere I'd rather be than sat in this car. Like, this is what I want as a daily, and I'm so happy with it that I thought, screw it, I'll fix it and just drive around in a car that I love. And that's basically what I did. And here is the GTR, looking awesome, a little dirty, but awesome, and as always has been reliable and have given me no issues this year, other than like a rear drop link for 180 quid. So reliable as anything, bargain. Servicing on this is like 500 to £1,000 a year, cheap as anything. Like half the price to run as the Bentley, and twice as quick, but less than a quarter of as comfortable, I'd say. So you know, they are two very different cars, despite both being 500 plus horsepower monsters on paper. They're both 500 horsepower plus coupes, but supercar, luxury car, very different. Oh, and in that money I've just quoted on the Bentley, you've got to bear in mind I've also done the wheel and brake refurbishment as well. Brake refurbishment, kindly, the painting was done free by Motura, so I won a competition. Still, huge thank you to you guys. And I had to replace the rear caliper because one had seized, and I had to pay for the wheels to get painted, obviously. So all in all, that would have been like 1,600 quid, but I only paid like 1,200 because the brake caliper refurb was free. But yeah, all in all, that's what the Bentley's cost me so far. But hopefully from now, there should be no other major issues. Obviously, leaky transmission's not ideal. It means we're going to have to replace the fluid at least annually. Maybe every 2 years, depending on how much it's leaking. Doesn't look like there's a big leak though, because none of the new fluids come out. So hopefully, they've tightened some bolts up on the housing of the transmission, and it wasn't a crack. It was probably something like an old gasket that's sort of given out or something somewhere between the drive shaft and the tranny or somewhere. But hopefully now it's going to be reliable and should only need basic maintenance like oil changes, maybe sparks and injectors and stuff, but hopefully just oil changes and the occasional transmission fluid flush, and it should be relatively reliable. And at some point I'll get that headliner sorted. But without further ado, let's roll the Triumph out, because I have some news on that as well, which involves a warranty claim. Not really as bad as it sounds, don't worry, I'll explain. We are back on the GoPro now, so sorry for the audio quality difference, but here's the Triumph. We're going to mount it up here so you can get some shots of riding. Unfortunately, I haven't got a headset yet, so I can't talk while riding, but hopefully at some point soon I'll pick one up. But basically what's happened is a little bit covered in bugs where I've been riding it, but this bolt cover here is like a really cheap plastic part. You see it's meant to have like a cover on that so you can't see the swing arm bolt. Unfortunately, that has come off of the bike. It's exactly the same as the part this side, but it's really plasticky, and you literally just do that to take it off, and it just like unspins. So it's really important that every time you ride, double check that they are spun in place properly, because else you're going to lose them. And not the end of the world. Hopefully it's going to be under warranty, so I'll have mine replaced for free, but they are £7, so worth buying a couple of spares in my opinion, just in case you kick one off or your pillion kicks one off, just in case. So it's nice to have them to cover, because else the swing arm bolts look hideous. Well, I'm super annoyed the GoPro wasn't working the whole way here because the battery wasn't connected properly for some reason, but oh well. Took some nice back roads. I might take those back as well and show you guys, but lovely challenge to Dali on arrival. But welcome to Podium Cafe, and I'm in desperate need of a coffee as I've had no caffeine yet today, so. There's always special kit here. That factory race car, the Alfa Romeo 4C, that looked absolutely amazing. This whole Kawasaki's also always here. Lovely bit of kit to see. I'm pretty sure it's a two-stroke, looking at the pipes on it, but yeah, very cool. Honda NSX, a newer Bentley Continental GT than mine, but it's the V8 variant, missing 4 cylinders, don't want that. W12 for the win. And the coffee roasters behind me. Coffee's always amazing, and I'm sure if you've stumbled onto my channel, you'll already be familiar with Seen Through Glass, who basically sorts all the coffee out for this place. He's partnered with them, and he has his own Perla coffee here, which you can have, which is really nice. The coffee here is exceptional. Full racing sim setup over there as well, which you can see these two gentlemen enjoying. And it's just a great place to come if you want to chill, have a coffee, maybe do a bit of work on your laptop, and enjoy the amazing cars. Gallardos, Ferraris, I mean, there's a challenge finale over there. Look at that, beautiful. Whoa, I've got to love the helmet here after a nice day riding. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video of me riding the Triumph a bit, as well as explaining the extortionate repairs that I've had done to the now nigh on immaculate Bentley, bar the fact they need to clean. To finish out the video, we'll do a cold start on the GTR, because I'm taking this evening, because it's better on fuel than that, hilariously. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and press the notification bell to stay up to date with all of my latest content, which I'm posting so regularly now. And yeah, also, quick one, tyres on the Bentley. I'm in two minds as to whether I should get known great tyres, aka Pilot Sport 4S's all round for the Bentley. It's just going to need a set for an MOT. Square setup, 275, 35 20s all round, so they're going to be like 250-ish a tyre, maybe 300 depending on what I get. Should I do that, or should I get some land sale or some off-brand ditch finders and just give you a review of like the crappiest tyres ever on a Bentley? Kind of skeptical doing that because I don't want to put it in a ditch, but I'm also sort of curious of whether like £400 tyres would just be absolutely hilarious on the car. But yeah, let me know what you think I should do in the comments below, and I will see you guys very soon with more content. Peace.